Good morning. Welcome to our second solid waste session, Zero Waste Affiliates from Around the World. I am your moderator, Ruth Abbey from Zero Waste USA, and I will be introducing each of the speakers. Our first speaker will be Tina Wanderley. She is an architect and urbanist from the University of Brasilia. She is a researcher with the Zero Waste Brazil Institute, and she will be speaking about zero waste models for cities in Brazil.
In order to transform cities into sustainable smart cities and zero waste cities, zero waste management systems must be developed and adapting to the context of each country. I will briefly present the zero waste model of waste management that's being proposed for Brazil. This presentation is divided into 4 parts, and I will start by talking briefly about the Zero Waste Brazil Institute, then some information and data about Brazilian context, the Brazilian Zero Waste model, and 2 case studies, Florianópolis and Chapecó. The Zero Waste Brazil Institute is a non-profit civil society organization pioneer in the concept of zero waste in the country. The organization represents Brazil in the Zero Waste International Alliance, and its main objective is to promote and manage the social and environmental responsibility of waste generation by encouraging and coordinating communities, enterprises, and institutions towards sustainable waste management based on zero waste concept and principles. Some brief information about Brazil. Our most important law on the topic is the National Solid Waste Policy. The problem is that it was enacted 10 years ago, and so far little has changed. There is a lack of public will for its implementation. However, this law brings unprecedented concepts for our legal regime, like shared responsibility divided into 4 actors: government, the industry, the commerce, and consumers. In short, responsibilities are planning, creating infrastructure, regulating and legislating for the government, the entire product life cycle for the industry and commerce, and the full implementation of the approved solid waste management plan for the entire population. In this law, the residual fraction of waste is defined as everything that doesn't have technical or economic feasibility of recovery. And only this fraction can have its environmentally appropriate final destination in landfills. Here, I bring some data about the sanitary reality of Brazil, which gets a little worse with the COVID-19 pandemic perspective. And I emphasize that almost half of the population has no waste collection. 64% of the municipalities has illegal dumpings, and we have low recycling rate below 3%. And I still emphasize that the climate and environmental issues are global, but its solutions remain local. So it's important to keep both views. Okay, Brazilian zero waste model. The first definition of zero waste by the Zero Waste International Alliance in 2009 is the basis for the Brazilian zero waste model. This definition is zero waste is a goal that is ethical, economical, efficient, and visionary to guide people in changing their lifestyles and practice to emulate sustainable natural cycles where all discarded materials are designed to become resources for others to use. So we propose a master plan divided into phases. zero waste as an innovation, and zero waste as an obligation. And the first step of the first phase is the social arrangement and mobilization. Make a complete local diagnosis, map all the stakeholders, create the institutional group of for zero waste solutions that will be the main channel between all sectors of society. Draw up a comprehensive communication plan, because transparency is more than a step here, it's a principle of this model. And we create that if everyone will participate in the solution of the problem, and if that solution depends on each individual's attitude, so everyone should also be aware of all this information. That's all. The step 2 is the political arrangement and legislation. First, elaborate the municipal integrated solid waste management plan. And this plan must be participatory. That means the interinstitutional group is an essential part in this process. Elaborate also the investment for modernizing waste management plan. And finally, elaborate a decree or a law with the city's zero waste goal and with clear goals. For example, 90% deviation of compostable and 60% deviation of recyclable. And this is important because we need to unify waste management in a single regulation. The currently fragmentation confuses the application by the municipality. Then zero waste model implementation in public institutions as an example for the city, with sustainable purchasing policy, with zero waste schools, etc. And create zero waste best practice meetings. This is important to disseminate and encourage new agents to take part of the project. The step 3 is the selective door-to-door collection in at least 3 fractions, recyclables, compostable residuals, and must be collected in specific days of the week. The step 4 is composting, and take out the organic waste of the waste cycle and put it back in the food cycle. Very important step for the Brazilian context, because here the compostable fraction reaches 50% of the total generated. And because composting creates twice as many jobs as landfilling and 4 times more than incineration per ton of waste, for example. And composting also reduces methane emissions from organic waste decomposing in landfills and serves an additional climate benefit of enhancing the soil's ability to capture and store carbon. We have as reference the hierarchy defined by Paul Conet for food waste management, which is the following: feeding man, feeding animals, home composting, collective composting, small-scale composting systems, collective composting with agricultural waste in agricultural areas, and centralized composting or anaerobic digestion in rural areas. It is also relevant to think at pruning and garden waste, and why not urban agriculture as a 0 kilometer destination for the compost produced. The step 5 is recycling. Paper, plastics, metals, glass, textiles, and in this context, cooperatives and associations of waste pickers and other recycling workers are the main allies of the municipality. And here we develop a program called Social Plastic Project to be the first monomaterial collection campaign with the community. And that's because Brazil is the fourth largest producer of plastic waste in the world, behind only the US, China, and India. But Brazil recycles only 1.28% of the total. And each Brazilian produces 1 kilogram of plastic waste per week. And then reverse logistics implementation, and also separate collection of glass, because even in the 70% of municipalities that currently have selective collections, in most of them, the glass must go already with the residual waste. So very important step. The step 6 is Ecoponto, which is a voluntary delivery point, and the reuse, for which we have the successful example of the recycling and reuse park in Gothenburg, Sweden. And with these first 6 steps, we can reach 80% of landfill deviation. Here we have a comparison between the current landfill incineration systems and the proposed new system in relation to job creation. And we see that zero waste has the potential to reduce another of our biggest problem in the country, which is employment. The steps of the second phase are for when zero waste is already a consolidated model in the city. And these steps involve the pay-as-you-throw policy, create a zero waste research center to study the residual waste, and as consequence, call the manufacturing industries for their responsibility to adapt their products or create new ones with longer life cycles, and for completely reusable, compostable, and recyclable materials, which is a fundamental step to achieve a circular economy. And so the maintenance and continuous improvement of the system. This scheme briefly illustrates how a circular economy fits perfectly into the zero waste model, and how both inaugurate an era of more economic efficiency, social justice, environmental sustainability, combined with technological development. So we talk about circular supplies, the extended life of products, digital sharing platforms, new habits in education, new skills and capacities for construct a human capital, and so that's it. Now I will present 2 case studies of 2 cities in Brazil that started the process for zero waste, beginning with Florianópolis. Florianópolis is the capital of the state of Santa Catarina and is a pioneer in several practices related to sustainability. It's a big city with more than 1 million inhabitants. And in 2010, the zero waste movement started in Florianópolis, when the city hosted a major international event, the Zero Waste International Conference. Then the methodology applied in San Francisco, California, also started to be used as a strategy in Florianópolis. And Novo Ciclo Ambiental was created, which is a solid waste management company that started offering these services to condominiums and establishments. And in 2018, by decree, the Florianopolis Capital Zero Waste Program was implemented. Today, the city has 4 recycling cooperatives and a large composting program. We say that the virtual sequence that started many years before in the city was the basis for the successful implementation of the new practice. This sequence was basically the development of innovation and technology in local universities, with consequent economic development and resource autonomy, and we've engaged community think about the social and environmental issues and possible solutions. Here, a social zero waste engagement timeline began in 2009, when the city already had some civil society movements, such as Baldinho Revolution, which is a composting and urban agriculture movement. Here in 2010, several NGOs were created and public institutions adopted the zero waste model, like schools, universities, and also the private sector started to meet the demand created by the change in young people's habits. For example, with the reusable culture. And more meetings and events to exchange experience and information about waste and about innovation in sustainability. In 2014, took place the first Zero Waste Week. In 2016, the Municipal Zero Waste Forum and several influencers started publicizing the zero waste as a lifestyle. And in 2018, the interinstitutional group was created as an officialization of the movement that was already happening naturally in the city. The second case study is Chapecó, another city of the same state of Brazil, but smaller. The zero waste model was applied in Chapecó, inspired by the example of Florianopolis, but reversing the order, in this case, from top to bottom. The government learned about the zero waste concept, envisioning the possibility of applying the city. But the last month, with the change of the municipal government, the zero waste system suffered a serious discontinuity due to issues related to political rivalry, since this model became the positive mark of the previous government. Nevertheless, it is an important case study that contributed to the establishment of the current proposed Brazilian zero waste model, in which the path must be from the bottom to the top to count on social engagement, legitimacy, and to have continuity despite political alternations of the municipality or others. Well, first, all data was collected. Communication plan that always seeks to be sensitive to the language of the population, in most cases facilitated by content in images. Then the empowerment of the workers of 50 recyclable waste pickers cooperatives. After composting, and we can emphasize that domestic composting is already applied in more than 35% of households in the city by this project called Zero Organic Waste. After training of professionals, teachers, workers with presentations, workshops, etc. A composting space in the courtyard of the City Hall was created, illustrating many possible methods for composting. And finally, the interinstitutional group was created. Here some partial results after a few months of implementation. An increase of 30% of recyclables processed by waste pickers associations, 33% increase in the quality of these recyclables, an increase in demand for these places of voluntary delivery, a reduction in the generation of residual waste, the first waste week with more than 100 actions carried out and a lot of people directly impacted by these activities. And now I finish with some next steps and potentials and with some challenges to overcome. Well, now we have cities in the initial process of adopting the model. We have also zero waste certification for companies, schools, commerce, and restaurants, industries, offices, buildings, etc. And we have also the Zero Waste Academy with training courses, which is an important part as our professionals in all years must become familiar with this topic. But we have also some threats coming from our political system and from the big companies related to the practice of landfilling and incineration, for instance. But even so, we believe that zero waste model has the potential to generate great and positive economic, social, and environmental transformation in our country and in the world. Thank you, and I'm open to questions and answers.
Our next speaker will be Jamie Kaminsky. He is a board member of Zero Waste Canada, where he leads the Zero Waste Training and Certification Program. He works with his fellow policy advisors to create strong, practical, enforceable policies that drive change towards zero waste.
Before we begin, I would first like to take this opportunity to acknowledge that this presentation was recorded from the city of Port Coquitlam, which is the unceded traditional and ancestral territories of Coquitlam First Nation, which lies within the shared territories of the Tsleil-Waututh, Katzie, Musqueam, Squamish, and Stolo nations. For those of you who are logged in from other countries around the world, the purpose of these statements is to show respect for Indigenous peoples and recognize their enduring relationship to the land. This is especially dear to us, given all the natural beauty that surrounds us here in Canada. During this presentation, I will be informing you about who Zero Waste Canada is and what we are working on. My name is Jamie Kaminsky, and I am on the board of the Zero Waste International Alliance and the board of Zero Waste Canada. I am also the president of HSR Zero Waste, which is a social enterprise dedicated to offering zero waste and resource management services and training. The Zero Waste International Alliance is a decentralized organization that develops and advocates for zero waste policies, principles, education, and programs. The Alliance is a network of zero waste and resource management professionals, scientists, engineers, policy advisors, educators, and equally of active citizens coming together to inform the Zero Waste International Alliance's network regarding the challenges faced by their communities. Zero Waste Canada is the Canadian national affiliate of the Zero Waste International Alliance with the mandate of developing, expanding, and implementing the Alliance's work in Canada. As a zero waste network, the Zero Waste International Alliance and their affiliates such as Zero Waste Canada work to support other zero waste activities and movements around the world. The Alliance's work includes both community and business outreach and education, as well as working with government officials to advocate for and support their journey to develop zero waste policies and programs within their countries, regions, and municipalities. Key policies developed by the Zero Waste International Alliance and their network include the Zero Waste Vision, a just world of vibrant, resilient, zero waste communities in harmony with nature, and the Zero Waste Mission, to work together as a global community to drive systemic change towards zero waste using environmental and social justice principles. The Zero Waste Vision and Mission are what we consider the heart and soul of zero waste, and what complement our foundational policies such as the Zero Waste Definition and the Zero Waste Hierarchy. Much of our work is founded around the Zero Waste Definition, the conservation of all resources by means of responsible production, consumption, reuse, and recovery of products, packaging, and materials without burning and with no discharges to land, water, or air that threaten the environment or human health. Another key policy is the Zero Waste Hierarchy. It is important to note that the Zero Waste Hierarchy is broken up into three main sections. The top tier of Rethink, Redesign, Reduce, and Reuse is where all the zero waste activity happens. This is where waste and pollution prevention really take place. The middle tier is managing resources and materials once they have been discarded, with recycling and composting at the very top of this section. And finally, the last tier of the zero waste hierarchy is the unacceptable section. Understanding this section is just as important as performing activities at the top of the hierarchy, because these activities are ones that actively work against zero waste policies and programs and divert resources away from positive, genuine zero waste solutions. So why zero waste? Why so much attention to the issue of waste? Why have a Zero Waste Canada? And why have a Zero Waste International Alliance? Because we have a waste problem, that's why. While these images are taken from the city of Vancouver, they could easily be representative of almost any major city in the world. On a global perspective, we are currently in ecological overshoot. We consume more resources every year than what our natural environment has the time to regenerate. We are actually currently consuming as if we had almost 2 planets worth of resources. This trend is not stopping. It is only growing. It is very simple. There is only so much we can keep on taking before we head into trouble. This is quite simply a physical reality, not an environmental argument. For Zero Waste Canada, this is important because from a North American perspective, we have the highest per capita rate of consumption in the world. If everyone in the world consumed as much as North America, we would require somewhere between 4 and 5 planets just to sustain that lifestyle. This brings us to the question of what. What is being done right now, and what is Zero Waste Canada, as the Canadian national affiliate of the Zero Waste International Alliance, doing about it? Two of the more established alternatives to disposal in a waste management system are recycling and composting. The objective of recycling is to take materials we have classified as waste and turn them into a resource by reprocessing them so they may be returned to the materials economy at the manufacturing stage and used again. Most often when we talk about waste, we only speak of waste at the end of our linear take, make, use, and dispose system. But what about all the waste generated throughout each stage of the system? Waste is being generated at each and every stage of our systems of consumption and production, from the extraction of raw materials to the distribution of the end product, and right up until the point a consumer buys a product and uses it. Consider the following image. This is what we call the wasteberg. What the wasteberg demonstrates is that for every ton of waste that we generate, an average of 71 tons are generated before the product even gets to us. In addition, we know that much of our waste is not being recycled or composted, and in many cases, there is no technology, programs, or systems in place to recycle or compost much of what is thrown out. So in many cases, communities have either resorted to or are thinking of resorting to burning their waste for energy. This is a big mistake and goes against key zero waste policies and practices. Key things to understand about burning waste is that burning waste creates toxins in the form of ash and emissions which cannot be eliminated. The energy that is produced is small in comparison to energy needed to make a product. Because of pollution, incinerators are typically built in lower income communities. Burning resources is counter to zero waste policies. Once they are burned, they are gone for good. When you use waste for energy, you're creating a demand for waste, locking yourself into burning it as your main solution. And incinerators that burn waste compete with the very same resources that could otherwise be recycled or composted. To find out more detailed information about why burning waste is bad, please visit the following organizational websites: ZWIA.org, zerowastecanada.ca, energyjustice.net, and zerowasteworld.org. As you can see, understanding policies that move us away from zero waste is just as important as putting resources towards policies that do take us in the direction of zero waste up the hierarchy. So, to guide communities, organizations, and businesses towards the top of the hierarchy and ensure they don't stumble into false solutions such as burning waste for energy, some of Zero Waste Canada's largest activities as a national affiliate of the Zero Waste International Alliance includes the development and implementation of a zero waste certification and recognition program, as well as zero waste education and training programs. Starting with the Zero Waste Facility Certification and Recognition, this certification has 4 levels and can be applied to any type of building or facility such as office, warehouse, restaurant, community center, etc., as long as it has a physical location. This program begins with On the Road to Zero Waste recognition and progresses to a platinum level certification. Each level expands your zero waste influence and reach, with On the Road and Silver certification only affecting activities that are within a facility's control, while a Zero Waste Platinum certified facility also affects vendors and their community at large. The facility certification are being followed up by Zero Waste Community Recognition and Certification programs, which are being rolled out later this year. Key criteria for all certification programs revolve around zero waste policies and practices, such as publicly referencing the zero waste definition and hierarchy, creating a baseline assessment of your activities so you're able to measure your progress towards zero waste, designating someone in your organization to be a zero waste coordinator who will follow the zero waste training needed to bring an organization through the process, and develop a zero waste plan. And to support organizations and individuals on their zero waste journey, Zero Waste Canada has developed a suite of zero waste educational programs. Starting with the Zero Waste Fundamentals course for individuals who are interested in learning the fundamentals of zero waste. This course is a 5-hour self-paced online course. Students who have completed the Fundamentals course will receive a certificate of completion from Zero Waste Canada. Once completed the Zero Waste Fundamentals course, a student will be eligible to enter our Zero Waste Associates and Zero Waste Facility Associates courses. These self-paced courses are designed for those who are looking for more information on zero waste and how to take it to the next level. It aims to provide individuals with a solid foundation of zero waste practices, policies, values, and concepts, which they will be able to apply in their place of work. By the end of these sessions, an individual will receive a designation of Zero Waste Associate and will be able to implement and consult on various zero waste programs and certifications. Thank you for following along to our presentation today. Here are links to follow us on social media. And to register for our courses, please connect with us at the following email or website. Thank you.
Our next speakers will be Elena Mateo and Anne-Marie Soter, who are co-directors of the Alianza Zero Waste Costa Rica. Elena has 25 years of experience in environmental program management, natural resource management, conservation, and sustainability. And Anne Marie recently obtained her master's degree in environmental science from the University of Barcelona. She has extensive experience in organic waste management and composting.
Good morning, everyone. We are Alianza Zero Waste Costa Rica. This is my colleague, Anne Marie Sauter, and myself. We're both co-directors of Alianza Zero Waste Costa Rica.
So, hi, everybody. This is the international definition of zero waste. So zero waste is the conservation of all resources by means of responsible production, consumption, reuse and recovery of products, packaging and materials without burning and with no discharge to land, water or air that threaten the environment of human health. This definition of zero waste adopted by Zero Waste International Alliance and a panel of global experts in 2018. Next. So this is the zero waste hierarchy, and this is the one that we use in zero waste. And the four more important things is that you rethink, you redesign, you reduce and reuse all of this just before recycling and composting. Next.
So this is Costa Rica, just to show you the map of our country. And when you think of Costa Rica, you think of lush green forests full of biodiversity, lovely volcanoes, as well as beaches. And this is a couple facts about our country. Our population is about 5 million people. Our population density, 96 people per kilometer square. We have a life expectancy of 80 years. And we do have a blue zone where senior citizens are 100 years and older, which is actually very interesting. Our literacy rate is 98%. Our investment in education is 7% of our GDP. Our unemployment rate a year ago used to be 12.5%, and today it's gone up to 21.9% because of the pandemic. And our per capita income is about 12,000 US dollars. So our total landmass area is about 51,000 kilometers squares, but we do have to add all this area in blue, which is approximately 600,000 kilometers of just maritime area. So 25% of our national territory in Costa Rica is allocated to conservation areas and national parks. And just to give you an idea of some of those protection categories, you can see them on the right. We have forest reserves, wildlife refuges, biological reserves, protection zones, and our forest cover is about 51.5% of our territory. So even though we are known for our significant achievements in the areas of conservation and renewable energy, we do have a double discourse because we have an important debt with our rivers and oceans. So just to give you an idea of some waste figures in Costa Rica generates approximately 4,000 tons of solid waste per day. And to date, 50% of the waste collected by the municipalities is organic waste. The government aims to reduce this percentage as part of its decarbonization plan. So Costa Rica has 5% of the planet's biodiversity, and we have set a goal to become carbon neutral by the year 2050 with net zero emissions. However, we do produce the equivalent of 15 trucks full of plastic every day, and this reaches the ocean. So like in this slide, you can see normally plastic bottles and all of the discards above, but now what we are seeing are masks from the pandemic. So that's one of the challenges that we're facing today. So again, there's a lot that we can do. So just to give you some information on Costa Rica's National Decarbonization Plan, it was developed from 2018 to 2050. And again, we have the goal of becoming a net zero emissions economy by 2050. We focus on 10 goals that include nature-based solutions such as reforestation, the expansion of the electric transportation to reduce emissions and transform the economy. So of the 10 goals that we have, goal number 7 looks at an integrated waste management system based on the separation, reuse, value, and final disposal of maximum efficiency and low emissions. So some of these are the goals for 2022, 2030, and again by 2050, reaching 100% of our national territory to find solutions for the collection, separation, reuse, and disposal of our waste. Now, this is the National Integrated Waste Management Plan, Law 8839, which actually will end this year. And so we will have another plan for the next 10 years. As part of our 2020 advances in the National Decarbonization Plan, in July of 2020, the National Composting Plan was introduced in 10 municipalities, and home composting systems are being offered to the population at large. And we're also in the process of developing a circular economy law. Now, this is the national strategy for the separation and recovery of waste. So in Costa Rica, we divide our waste into 8 categories, as opposed to only 3 categories in California, which are organics, recycled material, and trash. This is a photograph of a recycling station at the Ministry of Tourism. And on the bottom right, this is another photo of a recycling station at one of the hotels.
Okay, so Alianza Zero Waste Costa Rica has been contributing to the National Composting Plan in this way. Next. So we are helping neighborhoods with composting projects. Next. We are working with industrial composting projects. The photo on the upper right side is composting in a hotel, and in the lower right is composting in a municipality. Next. So we have been helping in schools with composting projects. Next. And also teaching families how to compost at home. Next.
Another initiative that we're actually working on are eco blocks, and you might be wondering what they are. These include the discards of everything that cannot be recycled, such as cookie wrappers and chip wrappers and medicine blisters, and they're all actually placed in small pieces and cut up inside a clean plastic bottle. Like what you can see the gentleman is doing on the left hand. He's compacting all these materials, and these will later serve as construction materials, just like right here. So it's a really interesting way of discarding those things that cannot be recycled. In 2019, we organized 5 zero waste seminars in Costa Rica aimed at the tourism industry, the education sector, civil society, the government, and the business sectors. And last December, Zero Waste International Alliance, Zero Waste USA, Zero Waste Youth USA, and True came together to offer these various workshops. So our friends spoke at all of these, and we visited several parts of the country. This is one of the hotel visits to Guanacaste with all of our colleagues from Zero Waste USA and Zero Waste International Alliance and Zero Waste Youth. And something that was really interested is, besides these seminars, we actually visited a school, and Zero Waste Costa Rica Youth was founded with 350 young leaders from colleges and universities throughout the country. So this is a very important youth movement. And as you can see in the slide, they're very active, and you can follow them on Instagram. So they're constantly posting materials on zero waste and the road that you can take to become zero waste. So the question for all of you is, if you're not for zero waste, how much waste are you for? So again, thank you very much for inviting us this morning, and thank you to the Waste and Water Management Conference for being a part of this symposium. Again, this is our contact information, and please feel free to ask us any questions if you'd like to. Have a wonderful day and best regards from Costa Rica. Bye-bye.
I will be speaking next on Zero Waste USA programs in certification and training.
Good morning. I'm Ruth Abbey, President of Zero Waste USA, and I'm delighted to be here among my colleagues for the Zero Waste Affiliates panel discussion. I represent Zero Waste USA, which is a national affiliate of the Zero Waste International Alliance. The Zero Waste International Alliance has a vision of a just world of vibrant, resilient, zero waste communities in harmony with nature. We also have a mission to work together as a global community to drive systematic change towards zero waste using environmental and social justice principles. ZWIA was formed to support the global community in the pursuit of zero waste, and has established many principles and certification criteria. We have a zero waste hierarchy of highest and best use, and we work together to defend the zero waste brand to be consistent with the principles of zero waste. But a little bit more history about Zero Waste USA. Zero Waste USA was formed in 1996 as the Grassroots Recycling Network. And our priorities were to campaign for zero waste, promote jobs from discarded materials, and end corporate welfare for wasting. In 1996, we were formed. In 2002, the Grassroots Recycling Network collaborated with a number of other organizations around the world to form the Zero Waste International Alliance in 2002. We also formed the Zero Waste Brain Trust to really dive deep into visioning a world without waste and developing tools and techniques for communities and businesses to strive towards zero waste. And we collaborated to support the development of the US Zero Waste Business Council, which is now part of the US Green Building Council and promotes the true zero waste rating system for facilities. Zero Waste USA was rebranded in 2014. GRN, our former name, we rebranded to Zero Waste USA, and then we focused our efforts on training, certification, and advocacy. There are zero waste communities throughout the United States. Grassroots Recycling Network was actually formed in Athens, Georgia, and has since moved across the country to California. And you can see there is a high concentration of zero waste communities in California and different parts of the United States. Here's a listing of a number of zero waste communities, including Alameda, California, where I am, Boston, Massachusetts, San Francisco, New York, Gainesville, Florida, Santa Monica, Washington, DC, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Dallas, Texas. We have communities around the country that are striving for zero waste. One of the main focus of Zero Waste USA is zero waste training. And we have a number of outlets for training. We do online webinars. We speak at international and national conferences. We cooperate with the Green Education US and their online training program. And then we have our primary method for reaching out and certifying individuals is through our Zero Waste Associates program, which includes 3 classes: Introduction to Zero Waste, Zero Waste Principles and Tools, and Zero Waste Associates presentations. And we do have a cohort coming up this spring. On March 9th, we will be teaching our Zero Waste Principles and Tools class online. It's a 5-hour class. And in this class, you will hear all about our Zero Waste Assessments tools and learn how to use them so that you can develop your own zero waste plan for your business, community, or school. This class will then split up into small groups that will work on class projects that will then be presented at the April 6th Zero Waste Associates class. And we will hear from each of the groups on their class projects, which will be a draft zero waste plan for a community, a business, or an institution or school. You can find out more about this training program on our website at zerowasteusa.org, training upcoming. And we welcome you to join us. Some of the principles and tools that we will be presenting and you'll learn more about are our zero waste planning checklist. We use this with communities to help them identify all of the different policies and programs that they could possibly think of to become a zero waste community. We also have a divertibility analysis tool that helps us estimate what the diversion potential is from removing discards from the landfill or incinerator and making them go back into the economic mainstream through recycling and composting. And we present the Managing and Transforming Waste Streams tool from the US EPA. So we participated in the development of this tool, which is based on that zero waste planning checklist. It's an online tool that you can see from the Managing and Transforming Waste Streams website on the US EPA site. And in that tool, you will find 100 different policies and programs that communities can implement to get to zero waste. And you will also find 300 examples and case studies of communities that have implemented some of these tools. So it's a very robust tool, and communities from all around the world can use this. We've been delighted this winter to be presenting a class that was taught at University of California, Berkeley by Sage Lanier. You can see her here. It's called Zero Waste Solutions for a Sustainable Future. And it's a semester-long class that she's collapsed into 6 2-hour lectures. And she is presenting that online through Zero Waste USA. And it's really been a delightful collaboration. When she graduated from UC Berkeley last year, she was sad not to be able to teach that class anymore at the university level. And so we decided to collaborate with her and offer it online. And it has really been delightful. Zero Waste USA is also a national affiliate of Zero Waste International Alliance for certification. And we do offer a certification program for businesses, institutions, and communities. This is just a snapshot of our Zero Waste USA recognition application. It's a relatively straightforward way for businesses to apply to us to become recognized. We do then validate and award them a certification in zero waste. Zero Waste USA, of course, was formed as the Grassroots Recycling Network, which had principal campaigns for zero waste. Our current campaign includes the Albatross Coalition, which was formed to help save the Laysan albatross, which is a large bird that nests in the middle of the Pacific Ocean at Midway Island and is threatened by single-use plastic. We consider the albatross kind of the canary in the coal mine for zero waste because, as you're probably aware, the albatross collects plastic from the ocean, feeds it to its babies, and you've probably seen the pictures of the albatross with a lot of single-use plastic in their bellies, and those babies can no longer eat any food, and then it kills them. So that's rather disheartening. So we've used this campaign to work on policies and programs for single-use plastics, and have advocated for that at the local and state and national level. And as a part of that, we participate in the Break Free from Plastic Network, which is an international project and campaign to advocate for alternatives for single-use plastics and to support communities in the pursuit of alternatives for single-use plastics, including and holding corporations accountable for the plastics that they produce that are then used by consumers and littered into the environment. So we are really very happy to be supportive of this international campaign. One of our campaigns that we've had for many years is called COOL, Keep Compostable Organics Out of Landfills, COOL, and we are rebranding it as Cool Now. And the reason that it's really important to keep compostable organics out of landfills is that compostable organics include things like food scraps and yard trimmings. When they are placed in the landfill, they degrade and produce methane. And methane is a powerful greenhouse gas, 25 to 72 times more powerful than carbon dioxide. And this methane can be reduced by keeping organics out of the landfill and having them be composted or used as feed or fuel. So we really want to advocate for keeping organics out of landfill, and this program has been very successful. For example, in California, California recently passed a bill in 2016 that requires communities and businesses to reduce the amount of organics going to landfill by 75%. This will be a tremendous impact to reduce the creation of methane and reduce the impacts of greenhouse gases in California. So we've been delighted to be participating in this panel with our colleagues from Zero Waste Canada, Zero Waste Costa Rica, and Zero Waste Brazil Institute. And we're so happy to be a part of the Zero Waste family. Any community organization or nonprofit organization, non-government organization can become an affiliate of the Zero Waste International Alliance, and you can find out more information about that on our website at ZWIA.org. We invite you to commune with us, be a part of the Zero Waste community, and because if you're not for zero waste, how much waste are you for? Thanks so much.